Hello, everybody. Welcome and good morning. Welcome to the Stories of Entrepreneurship event, a collaborative effort with the Texas Tri-County Chamber of Commerce and the NLC Business and Entrepreneurship Institute. We are very excited about today's event and thankful to so many people who helped make it possible. So we do want to specifically thank the Texas Tri-County Chamber, as all three of our panelists are members of the Chamber. We also thank Mindy Paxton, Chamber Director, and Chamber Board Member Angie Hager for assisting and coordinating the panelists. We also specifically thank NLC Student Services, Public Relations, Javier Leal and his team for your assistance and preparation today. Special thank you to the Dean of Academic Success, Tammy Perez, our Division Chair, Barbara Mayo, our Division Unit Assistants, Jose and Frank Olivio. And I specifically want to thank Laura Farias for her involvement and also the Business and Entrepreneurship Institute team. And so with that, I'm going to go ahead and transition into introducing our first speaker. I am delighted to introduce you to Shankar Poncelet, who works as a self-employed consultant, creating websites and online marketing strategies for his customers. Shankar went through a lot of different stages to be able to do what he is passionate about. In 2011, at the age of 29, and having worked in law enforcement for 9 years, he immigrated from Luxembourg, Europe, to Oxford, Ohio, where he earned a degree in interactive media studies. Upon graduation, he worked as a software developer for a consulting agency in Cincinnati and Chicago. And then in 2015, he quit his job and began working for himself and left cold Chicago to join us here in San Antonio. So with that, I give you Shankar Poncelet.
Thank you. Dear students, dear faculty, dear guests, and as I understand, dear online viewers, it is a pleasure for me to be here today and to share my journey with you, which you have gotten a brief overview already. And I really want to focus in this speech on the different stages of my journey and put an emphasis on the importance that each stage in that journey has had on the overall outcome. Because I know a lot of you are probably thinking a lot about what is the next step in my journey. Am I going to get an internship? And am I going to go get more studies? Am I going to join a company as an employee, or am I going to freelance? And you know, the truth is, it really probably doesn't matter that much as you think, because each decision that you will make will give you a set of tools, a set of skill sets that will eventually be very, very important in the overall journey. So I would like to touch on a few key items I learned in these different phases. As Ms. Butcher-Gember told you, I come from Luxembourg, which is a small country right in between France, Germany, and Belgium. It has about 600,000 citizens, and only half of us are Luxembourgish. The rest is a mix of Frenchmen, German, people from Belgium, and a lot of English-speaking people too. And I was a law enforcement officer. After high school, I joined police academy because at that point, even though I had strong academic skills, I didn't really know exactly what I would study. But to me, it made a lot of sense that I could give back to the society, to the community, as a law enforcement officer. So I went into police academy, and I had about 9 years of duty as a police officer, 2 years in training, and the rest were as an active officer. And there were two main fields I worked in. The one was very hands-on. I was stationed within a red light district, and I was fighting a lot of prostitution, drugs, and also human trafficking. The other part later focused more on white-collar crime. I was within a unit that investigated international financial fraud, so things like very rich people who try to evade having to pay tax, or trying to launder money, or trying to finance very ugly wars within the world. The most important takeaways that I got from that time were the following. I was in a position where I could see into the highs and lows of society. On the one hand, I got to see the very poor, the very desperate, who had to steal to put food in their mouth, who had to sell their bodies to be able to survive. And on the other hand, I saw very wealthy individuals who had an abundance of material things in their lives, but usually they had difficulties sensing anything because of the fact that they had everything materialistically. They had turned a little numb, right? So they were resorting to very extreme measures to feel something. And typically that would result in power plays, substance abuse, degradation of others, and very, very weird practices in their love lives. But what I got from that was the sense that we should all be very grateful for the quote-unquote normal life that we are able to lead. It is very much okay to be within the so-called middle class. There's nothing wrong with striving after fame and wealth, but it is more important to find your place in life and your values and what fulfills your heart and what gives you a sense of creating value in this life, which really leads into a very important aspect of life as an entrepreneur and life as someone who wants to progress and get somewhere. You really need to know why you are doing it. It cannot be just for the sake of making a lot of money, because I can guarantee you, even though that's nice and we need money, it's going to burn you out. And you're going to find yourself in a place where you ask yourself, why am I doing all of this? Why am I working so hard if I don't see a sense in what I'm doing? And that's really one of the most important messages I have for you today. Try to look inside of you and find two goals that compose your why. One can be self-centered. It has to do with what makes you happy. And that can be a very guilt-free approach. If materialism and money makes you happy, then that's okay. But if having an impact on society in good ways is more important for you, that's also okay. So one is a self-centered motive. The other one goes beyond you. What do you do in your life that impacts others, that impacts society? What is going to be your legacy? That's very important. So as I leave Luxembourg in 2011 to immigrate to the United States, I went to Miami University in Ohio. Miami has nothing to do with Florida. It's a tribe in Ohio, and the university is named after it. And they have a satellite campus in Luxembourg, and a lot of students go to Luxembourg to fulfill their international requirement. And I did it the other way around. And it was very nice, very, very good experience. I was a so-called non-traditional student. On average, I was 10 years older than my peers, which of course put me in a place where I approached my studies in a more mature and more serious way than most of my peers. I really knew why I was there, and I really tried to take that chance to have an education, a university-level education, in order for me to grow. And I want to tell you this, whether you are a traditional or non-traditional student, don't take this opportunity for granted. It is not something that everybody has access to. And while it is totally okay to have fun with it during your time at university and in school, you also need to make sure that you realize how lucky you are to learn the skills that will be very essential for the rest of your lives. Something else that is going to be very key is the relationships you create during that time. I can guarantee you that in 10, 15, 20 years, some of your key collaborators, some of the people that will open doors to you will be your peers that you have right now. I can guarantee you that. Value those people because some of them will be maybe your future employees, will be those that create contacts for you, and will be those that inspire you. You are really the average of what the people are that you spend most of your time with. So choose your friends and your connections wisely during this time here. So I had to do a capstone project, and I was placed as a CEO of a web development agency that we had to run as students. That was the Capstone Project. And I had designers, copywriters, business analysts, account reps, all kinds of people that I had to collaborate with. And initially, I approached my task the way a former police officer would approach it, right? So I told people, this is what you need to do, and we're not going to discuss, we're just going to execute. And while that works very well in a military-type structure, in a law enforcement-type structure, it didn't work at all within that environment I found myself in, meaning working creatively and collaboratively with students on projects, with peers. So an important lesson I learned during that time was to listen and to embrace the diversity of thoughts that different people can bring to the table. In order to successfully achieve a project, you have to be open to all the possible approaches. Something that might sound totally logic and totally good to you and a good approach to you might not be the approach someone else would take. But a successful project really comes to existence when you open up all those different approaches towards realizing a goal. That is really something I took away from my time at university. And it's going to be important for you later in your life as an employee or employer or entrepreneur. I can tell you that. So after graduation, I immediately transitioned into being an employee as a software developer in Cincinnati. And I want to say a word about being an employee and its importance, because I know a lot of you in these times might think about jumping right into freelancing because it has never been easier. And while that is definitely an option for you, and if you are very strong-willed, you can make that happen, I urge you to not underestimate the value you will get out of actually going through an internship or going through a phase where you are an employee. Why? Well, because you're going to meet people, meet professionals. It's kind of the same idea I touched upon earlier. Your network is going to expand. So that is one thing. The other thing is you're going to learn a model that is a professional model that you can apply and scale down towards your needs as an entrepreneur or a freelancer, should you go that route. It is also important to learn in your life during a certain phase what it means to have a boss and what it means to satisfy your boss and to do what you're told. Even if it is not very comfortable sometimes to do that, it will give you appreciation for the freedom you can create in your life by striving on, whatever that means later for you, whether it means you become a self-employed person or you create your own company or you just work yourself up the ranks in a company. Last but not least, I want to touch on something that has really been a key ingredient in my success in my business, and that is, the overall way has given me many different skills. There is this saying that says, it's not good to be a jack of all trades and a master of none. And I'm here today to tell you that subjectively for me, that has proven to be wrong. Because we live in times where everything is so dynamic and so fast-paced that it is actually very valuable if you are a generalist, a jack of all trades. And it's okay to be a master of what. It's okay to have a strong field. For me, my strong field is writing code. But all these soft skills and other skills that I bring to the table, such as my communication skills, my social skills, my skills to be able to be willing to listen to others, those have proven tremendously important. So I want you to embrace yourselves as whole individuals and see the value in your individuality and in your diversity. Take that and put it into your life path, and I think that will be a very good way for you to realize your dreams. Thank you so much for listening to me today.
Thank you, Shankar. We appreciate you being here. And it is my pleasure